Orlando, Florida. Hurricane Nicole, I think, is just blown by, which is a beautiful thing, but we've been here with 700 participants talking about a myriad of different things impacting both retailers and law enforcement, and collaborating and networking amongst each other. It's been a family reunion. It's been great. I've got the pleasure and really happy to see you once again. Colonel, I am going there because you deserve that respect.
Yeah,
yes, you
absolutely.
are. Definitely deserve that respect. Colonel Dunham, now Landy, because he's in the civilian world now.
Very happy to be there.
Executive Director with CVS. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Great session. I was in your session for most of it. I had to step away for a little while, but just the stories. The stories, the reality of everything that you've done throughout your career. I know, you touched on, or more than touched on, actually, the transition from the military into the civilian world.
Right.
We've had a number of conversations about that this week, the difficulties, the challenges, and the disbelief that it's going to happen to you. How important is it to be prepared for that transition, and that transition from the military to a private sector organization?
Absolutely. It's incredibly important to be prepared. And I think a lot of folks take it for granted. I know several of my peers have, and I've learned vicariously through them. You got to do your homework. And luckily in today's, social media society, it's a little easier than it probably used to be. YouTube was my friend. So you go and you take a look at opportunities on LinkedIn or Indeed and all the different opportunities out there for leaders. And chances are going to be really, really good that you don't know a lot about the organizations, because we've been in the military and law enforcement for our entire lives. So you want to go to YouTube and do some Googling and then learn about the organization.
Sure.
What do they do?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then figure out how you can bring value, to that organization.
One of the things that we talked about, and I know for a fact that it's true of your career, one of the things that we've talked about this week, I talked about it with Dr. Marshall, was, you really need to dissect your background.
Yes.
When you transition over, you really need to dissect it, because you don't think about all those little intricate things that you do in your day-to-day job. Because in the military, you just do. It's not a question of who's going to do it. It's like, I got to do it. Let's go.
I will tell you, you really should invest in help.
Yeah.
You really should, because I don't know if we have the skills on our own to be able to properly translate what we've done.
Exactly.
Our resume, where it makes sense to a civilian employer.
Right.
So ask for help. There's so many different agencies out there. Most of them are not-for-profits, designed just to help military leaders and law enforcement leaders find opportunities in the civilian sector. Yeah. So take advantage of that. Yeah. You don't know what you don't know, right?
You don't know.
But these folks do.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another important aspect of that, especially for us in the former military veterans, keep your relationships with your military brothers and sisters. Because Absolutely. They make the transition too, or maybe they've already made that transition, right? How important is that?
Look, I think I shared it on the stage, but I'll share it with you as well. I must have, I think, applied for 100 jobs.
Yeah.
I submitted my resume, and that was the one that was doctored up, translated, quote unquote, to civilianese, right? Several I never heard back from.
Yeah.
Some I did, and I got interviews and was able to, do well, but you really have to count on your network.
Yeah.
Right? Because no one really knows you and what you've done like your brothers and sisters that are served with you.
Exactly.
Right? So, and I'll be honest with you, that doesn't even have to be folks that have been in the military. It could be my first job I got because of my across the street neighbor, who was a civilian, knew me well, saw the things I did to lead soldiers on a regular basis, knew my family well, happened to know a leader that was had just been given an opportunity to be the CEO of a company who needed strong leaders.
Right.
You have to tell everyone and their brother that you're transitioning.
Right.
You have to tell everyone and their brother that you're looking for help.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Don't be afraid to
and
ask.
You would be surprised with who comes back with an opportunity for you.
Right. And your transition over to CVS as an executive director.
Yeah.
And you look at your team and you find out that you have brothers and sisters on your team already.
Absolutely.
And then it's like a light switch.
It is.
And it doesn't matter. And becoming an 06 in the Army and doing all the things you've done. when you're a veteran now on the other side of things, and you're meeting with your team for the first time, and you find out, oh, you were in the Army, you were in the Marine Corps.
There's so many of us.
Yeah.
Yes, and the CVS has we have a resource group for veterans, Brave we call it, where you'll be amazed at how many senior leaders. The CFO, Frank Left Retail, my boss's boss was a Naval officer.
There you go.
For an example, right?
Yep.
No, I don't know if anyone even knows that, but I do because he shared it with me. Because we have that brother and sisterhood, right? And it does feel good to be able to communicate and work alongside people who understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. And the beauty of it is when you do initiate that conversation and find that out, it's amazing to watch how that whole kind of conversation twists and turns a little bit, like walls come down.
Absolutely. We know each other.
Exactly.
Even though we've never served side by side.
Yep.
We know each other.
Exactly. Right? That's the unique thing. That's the part I love about it, because having been in military, law enforcement, then in the private sector, as soon as you say something, they're like, where did you serve? What? Oh, I was there this time, and blah, blah, blah. And do you remember this? And it's like all these memories start coming back that you haven't thought about in so long.
Yes. I always say we're related, man.
Exactly. Yep. And this is a family reunion. We talked about that several times through these live feeds. It's a family reunion. Every year when we come back, it's like, where's the year gone? And we're all like, oh, what's going on with this now? And, what are you doing now? And it's great just seeing everybody, and especially because of this conference and how unique it is, as far as, the vendor community, great example. They're not here selling anything. They are truly solution providers. They are truly delivering solutions. They're listening to attendees. They're bringing information back to their leadership to say, hey, the retail sector, the law enforcement sector has this problem or that problem. I think we can have a solution. So, and they're a part of this community as well, because they are delivering for us, right? And all those unique things that happen. So, and then to see the interactions and to see everything going on between law enforcement and retail investigators.
Yes.
And how they work together.
That's right.
And the content. Delivering the content that we do. It's not regurgitated content. It's new. It's fresh. There's ideas being shared. So, any presentations, any sessions you really stood out?
I'll be honest with you, I liked them all. One that comes to mind that I will tell you that I learned something from. It was early on when the gentleman, a whole team from the Houston Police Department spoke. Yep. It's funny because as a retailer, you feel like you really, really need law enforcement to help you make your mission happen, move the needle, mitigate, shrink, stop bad guys from coming in and stealing your stores.
Yeah.
What I learned from that discussion is, man, they need us just as much.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it is a true partnership. And at the end of the day, if you want to fail, you don't need to partner.
Yeah.
But if you want to succeed, you have to partner.
You have to.
And the mere fact that it was mutually beneficial to both of us to partner was a little eye-opening to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I realized how much they needed us to do certain things to help them in their mission too, taking the bad folks off the street.
The task force from Houston, near and dear to my heart because I work so closely with the ATF in my role today, supporting who they are actually, holding accountable and regulating. So when we got together in the hospitality suite, I was like, who are you? And he was like, wait a second, what do you do? So, once again, that whole wall comes down. We start talking about stuff and we're laughing about different scenarios and stuff that we both run into, because on my side, I support the ATF, I support the firearms retailer, as well as, do all the other things that we do. So it's really nice to, have a contact, have a connection, because Houston's tough.
Yes.
So, how'd you like our surprise session with Coach?
Oh, wow. He's a great guy. Look, I was blessed to play football, I tell you, for Army. And my coach was a big Lou Holtz fan. Yeah. So I have heard a number of Lou Holtz speeches, usually via video. Right. To see him in person there on the stage. And, just incredible nuggets of wisdom, first of all. Just a really humble guy. Yeah. And to be honest with you, what I was most surprised by and delighted by was his humor. He's funny. Yeah. He's unbelievably entertaining. Yes. But what he's saying is really, really simple. Once again, anyone can do it.
I wish I had his memory.
He's got a lot of great memory.
How do you remember some of these stories?
Yeah.
He's remembering like actual scores of games that happened 20, 30 years ago, and I'm like, I don't even remember the scores from this weekend.
No, he's a special person.
Oh, he is.
And we know that. You don't become Lou Holtz.
Yeah, I've seen him multiple times speak, and every time I'm elated.
He says he's an average guy, but he's far from that.
Yeah, he's
far from that.
So. Yeah, absolutely. Any other sessions you really enjoyed?
Yeah, I really liked the new leadership session we had with the good doctor who literally talked a lot about transitioning.
Yeah.
And I really liked the fact that he and I agreed quite a bit on what we felt like a strong leader needed to have, and that's being authentic and being empathetic. He tied and made sure people understood the difference, though, between leadership, management, and then followership.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that he made it clear that all three of those are important.
Exactly.
And that was a really good talk, and I think people got a lot from it. And he talked about networking, which is key.
Yeah, and that's what we're all about here at Clear, right? Is the network, building that network, building a rapport with people, helping and supporting each other, etc. So, I sat in the back of the room during that session, and I got to tell you, I just sat there going, well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that happened. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking around the room, and everybody is like just focused.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's important. And I guess the majority of folks in that room were looking to transition. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
There were a few of us who had already been there.
Yeah.
And it's important to pay attention and listen and know that it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
So you got to be patient. You got to be tenacious, just like you've been throughout your career, your law enforcement, military career. You got to stick to it.
Yeah.
And all it takes is one yes.
Yep.
That's all it takes.
And my belief in our team, actually, everybody always laughs at me. I was like, no, you start with yes. You start with yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's one of my business partner always laughs at me. He goes, "You talk to JC, he's going to say yes. I don't know why you're going to approach him about it, but he's going to say yes."
No, my thoughts were about the job market and trying to land an opportunity.
Oh yeah.
You probably won't get yes the first time.
No, you won't. You won't. But you know what? Building that network, building that partnership.
Yeah.
The funny thing, during one of the sessions, one of the folks on the Fleet Crew board, we were talking about something. And we were talking about, building the team. We have a few open positions out there as far as the board of directors is concerned. And, she actually brought out Nancy Alvarez from Monroe County Sheriff's Department, Lieutenant Nancy.
Yeah.
She actually brings somebody up to a few of us on the board. And she goes, that person would be a good person. We all look at each other like, if Nancy says so, then that person's a good person. Let's get them on the board and get them
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
You have
that's
the
because of her relationship.
Credits.
Right. So
she's built up those idiosyncrasy credits with you, and she has strong relationships with you all, and she can help an individual that she knows. And she's not going to bring you someone that's, she's not going to lose her reputation and her trust.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So she's built up that trust, and she's taken advantage of it to help someone else.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And if you've done a great job and you're a hard worker and people know that, whether or not they've been in the military serving with you or not, they can help you get an opportunity.
And lean on somebody. Yep. Definitely lean on somebody.
Yep.
Well, Landy, I hope to see you next year. We
I
hope to have you back next year because I think it's vitally important for you to talk about your experiences. You bring a new, fresh perspective to things. You're a great speaker.
I appreciate that.
You're a great speaker.
Thanks.
Really enjoyed your session. So we hope to see you again next year. Really appreciate you coming out and supporting Clear, as well as in your role, allowing your team at CVS to take this time away from their hard work to come and actually participate in this conference every year. That's huge to see the number of members from CVS here, not only supporting Clear because some of them are on the board, but also just being present and being able to be here and learn and educate themselves and get, drive that network.
Absolutely. Well, we wouldn't do it if there wasn't a return on investment, right?
Right, absolutely. So and a company like CVS can send their team down here.
Yes.
And you didn't send your team down here. Here's the executive director from CVS saying, this is a very good conference. You need to be here, right?
Yeah, no, it's been very worthwhile. And once again, I think we'll have great return on investment for the time we spend here. Thank you, sir.
Landy, I appreciate you joining me today. I've taken time out of your day, and I appreciate you presenting. So great session.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Have a great one.
All right, man. Thanks. All right, everybody. Hey, it's JC. 2022 Clear Conference down here in Orlando, Florida. We're actually going to sign off now. The conference has ended. We're getting together, going to do a debrief. We're going to talk about all the great things that we have going on next year. So, hey, stay tuned for these announcements. They're going to be coming, and start planning today. If those budgets are out there, plan that budget for this event. It's a must do. So we appreciate you joining us. JC signing off, Orlando, Florida. #ClearNation.